Hello there, BookTube. My name is Daniel. Welcome back to my channel, Guilty Feet. No money man can win my love. It's sweetness that... I've got no rhythm. And today I'm going to do a book review, and this is a book that I was very kindly sent. So I was sent an ARC. This is an unfinished copy of The Rich People Have Gone Away by Regina Porter, who is, I understand, an award-winning playwright and had a previous novel. I tried to see if anyone had ever spoken about Miss Porter previously on BookTube, and there was her last novel, The Travellers. 1 second, I should get this right. I can't find The Travellers came out about 4 or 5 years ago, and there was some talk about that. Actually, because I had this for a couple of months, this was mentioned on some of those exhaustive lists of what could be on the Booker long list. This came up, I think, in 1 or 2 of those places. But here's the sitch. So this is Jonathan Cape, I believe. Yeah. So I've dream come true. I've made it to some mailing list of influencers where every month they send me 3 or 4 books that are coming out, and I get to choose which one I'm interested in, and maybe they'll send me a copy. And this has happened now a couple of times. I had Enlightenment by Sarah Perry, which I bought and read, and now did make the long list, and really I love that book. And then I got an email a couple of months ago saying that I had won this. Now there comes with this a certain amount of anxiety, because they don't send the books to me in Israel, they send them in London, so I have to know that I'm going to be able to get the book from London, read it, and post a review in time for the deadline. So I think this comes out on August the 8th, which is tomorrow, and the request was to publish a review somewhere and send them a link within a month of publication. So this is me following up on that. So The Rich People Have Gone Away by Regina Porter is, I guess, a kind of literary thriller. I think it fits perfectly into that subgenre of literary thriller where the main thesis is white people are crazy. And this was exemplified, the godfather of the white people be crazy subgenre is, of course, Gillian Flynn's Gone Girl, where the entire thesis of the book is these white people are crazy. And this has got a similar theme as a big debt to Gone Girl in many ways. And I'll talk a little bit about the plot in a second. But the twist with The Rich People Have Gone Away is that this is written by a woman of color. So in this instance, white people are crazy and probably a little bit racist, which is not a totally left field theory, but it's very heavily, this is the line that we've got going on here. So the story starts off with this, the focus is a white couple in New York, and it took me a while to realize they were white. I don't know why that was. And Theo and Darla, who live this weird existence in New York in this fabulous apartment because Leo seems to have made a lot of money in real estate to continue that, something like that. He's a realtor, maybe, but he seems to do very well. And Darla is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed, sort of perfect Marilyn Monroe goddess who is pregnant with their child. I don't think they're married, but they're in a committed relationship. But it's a committed, open relationship. So Theo seems to be, I mean, I don't know all the correct terms. I don't know if he would be considered a sex addict, but he seems to constantly be looking for his next lay, and he doesn't much care where he finds it. There was a scene in the beginning which I didn't understand at all, where he goes on, he talks about how much he likes having sex in doorways, and it was something about not being either in or out, and I think it was supposed to be a metaphor for his lack of commitment. He is, bisexual and pursues men and women wherever he can find it, and then seems to come home to his wife, the impossibly blonde-haired and blue-eyed Darla, who I think, I'm going to get this wrong, she is a professional bassoonist. Is that right? Bassoon, oboe, one of those big woodwind instruments that you have to carry around, which kind of plays a part. I think it's a bassoon. If I've got that wrong, I don't care. So that's these people that make no sense whatsoever, could only have been invented, Theo and Darla, And the other thing we know about Theo is somewhere he's got some backstory where his father told him once that he has an ancestor who was black, and that in the back of his head he's got this idea that the black will out, and that that 2% of where he's going to go wild and cause trouble is haunting him once he knows something about this ancestor, even though he passes for white, I think, on most occasions, and lives his life as a white man. He's got this idea that so when he fucks up, basically, and when he is a sex addict, and when he screws people over after he screws them, it's this idea that genetically he can't help himself somewhere, which is a sort of ugly racist thing, but that's him. That's not the author saying that's the thing. That's somewhere in Theo, and that plays out. Okay, Theo. The other thing, this is all set during the pandemic. There's a lot going on here. So they're in the pandemic. So everything's shut down, and Darla and Theo go off to stay in a cabin somewhere to get some together time, because he's just finished having sex with everybody else on his realtor route, and he comes home and she's pregnant, and they go off and they get into an argument about this thing. Like, he reveals to her this thing, by the way, just so you know, white-haired, blonde-eyed white person, I've got a black ancestor, and I don't know if it's going to make me crazy. And somehow, I don't know if that's the trigger for the fight or whatever, but they have a bit of a fight and they get separated, and when he goes to find her, he can't find her, and she stays missing. And this is the early part of the book, and that's the sort of Gone Girl-esque aspect of it, that he is obviously at some point a suspect in the disappearance of his wife, and we get, from that point, we get all the backstories. His father shows up to be with him in this time of need. Somewhere in the background, there's a black family, an African-American family, doing their thing and living through the pandemic, and the mother is very ill and in hospital, young, in her 40s, and the child, the 18-year-old boy or 17-year-old boy, is struggling with his identity and how to be a man, how to be an African-American man in Manhattan in the pandemic and in the 21st century, and that's going on there. But it's really, that's all B plot, maybe C plot. Really never sort of fleshed out. I didn't, is it supposed to connect somehow? They cross, Theo bumps into him somewhere, but really, that's just, you could, this is what, 380 pages, and that could have been cut out, and it wouldn't have affected the story at all, because the main story is about these crazy white people. Oh, okay, so what have we got for crazy white people, Manhattan, pandemic? What are we missing? Yes, Darla's father died at 9/11. So we've thrown that into the map just to mix it all together and see, because white people are crazy. And again, this is not me mocking a black person and saying white people are crazy. This is a theme that I believe started with white authors. I don't think there's a single black character in Gone Girl. I haven't read enough of Gillian Flynn's work, but I've read enough of white writers writing about crazy white people to know that they're not that interested in the African American experience. And here, Regina Porter also doesn't seem to be that interested in the African American experience. This is a book that is plugged in to that thing of, how do I get readers? I'm going to write a book about crazy white people. She's a graduate of Iowa, the MFA program, which is why I think you can see Paul Harding is blurred on the cover. I think he's also in the acknowledgements. He may have been her tutor in Iowa. Raven Leilani is on here as well. So Paul Harding, with me, is a red flag, because I hated that, his Tinkers, the first book. I haven't read the latest one. Raven Leilani, I didn't love her book, but okay, I think she's a contemporary at least. This just seems like it was written to a formula with a specific goal in mind. I don't know if we'll achieve that. Maybe people read it. It's a kind of beachy, fun read. Maybe you'll like it. The Rich People Have Gone Away by Regina Porter. White people, we are crazy. It's true. God bless. Bye.